from China's point of view, I mean, I just put myself in the shoes of the Chinese government and say, look what's going on. We've lost control of the pricing. We controlled the price for the last 3 decades. Okay, fine. That's brilliant. We can't control it anymore. We have lost that. Why? Because India is now going through an industrial revolution at the phase where China was 25 years ago. She's growing, and demand for silver, yet for industrial purposes, is just absolutely enormous. And on top of that, of course, throughout Asia, you would think that there would be some silver sort of coming out, scrap and all the rest of it. But no, the Asians hang on to their scrap because do they want silver or do they want rupees or reals or, it's a no-brainer. They hang on to their silver. The squeeze, I think, has only just started. Now, I wouldn't claim to know how this is going to progress minute by minute or day by day. But it's clear to me that silver has still a lot of upside because it's turned into a Giffen good, one where a rising price basically doesn't produce supply. If anything, it encourages demand. It does the reverse of what, the charts that we've all been shown do, sort of rising demand gets capped by price. Price, the function of price basically is to balance supply and demand. So you get the increase in supply at the higher prices. That's not going to happen, and it's not happening now. It's an interesting thing. I ran the bank participation report off, the December one, a couple of days ago, because there was I think it was an AI bot, which came up with this sort of wonderful thing about how the US banks were in trouble, they were terribly short, da-da-da-da-da. But actually, if you look at just at paper, the the US banks are actually long of silver on COMEX. And but if you look at the foreign banks, or what they call non-US banks, they're the ones who are short. One assumes that there would be long of paper in London. But the problem is that even if they're long of paper in London, they're being effectively stood for delivery, if you like, by industrial buyers who come into the market and buy a forward contract and then want the real stuff. So the squeeze is actually, I think, very, very tight and difficult. And the problem is that, everybody in industry realizes now that, if they're in the business of making photovoltaic cells, electronic vehicles, defense industry, et cetera, they need silver and they need to get it damn quick. Otherwise, they're not going to have any manufacturing material. So we have a situation, I think, where the price gets driven up by this sort of demand. And it's a one-way ticket because there's no industrial user who sort of says, well, I got a little excess stuff here. I can maybe trade it out, sell a bit into the market and take a profit and buy it back cheaper. Or I can hedge it. No, they're not there anymore. Those guys basically realize what's going on. And I think one of the things that's interesting about the timing of this very, very sharp volatility is that, of course, it occurs at a time when any respectable industrial user is on holiday.
Yeah.
So, he's still digesting his Christmas pudding and looking forward to, well, if it's Scotsman, Hogmanay and too much whiskey. So the timing from the swaps point of view, we've got a year-end problem coming up. Like my bonuses depend on me making profits or being able to show that I make profits, and my mark to market doesn't kill those profits. Yeah, they love to bash it down. So that's what's going on. I think it's as simple as that. I think there is a broader question as to what China is actually doing. I mean, it is interesting because China is introducing really from next week officially a new licensing, export licensing regime. And it's not stopping silver going out. It's just tightening up on the export regime. And I think it's giving China greater control, if you like, over its over domestic stocks in the wider sense, not just China's own stocks, and I believe they've got a lot of stock which they've stored effectively, because you're talking about the second largest silver miner, but also the largest refiner by far. And bear in mind, it's not just imported silver doré; it's also imported copper ores, nickel ores, lead ores, zinc ores, and all these. I mean, refining is a dirty business. China doesn't mind doing it. We in the West don't want to muck up our hands with this. And that's actually, incidentally, one of the reasons why China has a virtual monopoly on rare earths, because rare earths also come out of this refining thing. I mean, aluminium or bauxite, I understand, is one source, if you like, of rare earths. And you require a lot of electricity to turn bauxite into aluminium. And who's got the electricity now? We haven't. We used to do it actually in Fort William, which is in Scotland, where we had hydroelectric power. I don't know if we do it anymore. I don't think we do. I think that's closed down. But can America do it? Well, they're at the moment powering loads and loads of computers to do AI or mine Bitcoin or whatever. So we just don't have the electrical capacity, if you like, to compete with the Chinese in these matters. So. Yeah, I think China realizes that it's got us firmly in its grasp. I mean,
short and curlies, yeah.
I won't use the rude word, if you like, but that's it's squeezing and it's hurting. I don't think it's price control as such. I mean, it's the consequence of many years of demand exceeding supply. I mean, just look at the Silver Institute tables. They show for the last 5 or 6 years or whatever that there's been more silver demanded than supply. And the difference has always been made up by the category they call investment. Yeah, it's not investment. It's Chinese stocks, basically. I mean, the fascinating thing is that in 2023, China supplied silver to the West. I can't remember the exact figures, so please don't hold me to it. But I think we were looking at something like 300 million ounces being supplied to the West. Well, the fascinating thing is that the supply is actually to the UK, Singapore, and I can't remember, there's another one. I mean, basically it was going into financial centers. And then in 2024, again, it was about 300 and something thousand ounces. Sorry, 300 million ounces. I'm talking millions of ounces. And that went to what I would call more industrial countries. So you could see that what was happening is that it was getting vaulted in places like Singapore, London, Switzerland, wherever, where the vaults are in 2023. But in 2024, it was definitely being drawn down by industry. Look, this is important to understand, because this is why China is trying to restrict, if you like, the export of silver. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Silver, as far as China is concerned, the importance of silver is absolutely going off the charts. They cannot afford to lose stocks. So I think that's really why they've got this new licensing regime. It's not a question of China stopping all exports. No, not at all. But she wants to just really control them. So I think that's what's going to happen.